Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is me, Duke CT, back with you once again. Hopefully, with a bit stable internet connection. Hopefully, everyone is feeling good. Hopefully, y'all are feeling good on this Tuesday evening. And man, oh man, it has been a really interesting time for the NWA. And honestly, we got some stuff to talk about. And boy, oh boy, yeah. And Nick Aldis. Well, to start out with Nick Aldis, he has been he's been the when he's asked about the NWA release and looking at how, his the issues with him and all these other all this other stuff with Billy Corgan, who is the promoter and all this type of stuff here. Saying that, yeah, I mean, if you do remember, the first big moment of the Corgan era was in 2018. As like he had talked about the NWA champion Nick Aldis took on Cody Rhodes at All In. Cody Rhodes won, and I just like the fact that he's like, man, Cody Rhodes never really won the world title. I'm like, wait, what? He won the ROH championship, and then he won the NWA world title. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, um, it was the start, and it really did start the process of AEW. And then after that, the launch of NWA Power, and it was actually really good. You had all these, like I said, Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks, Aldis, all these things, really good stuff. A lot of people were, these things, the NWA. Honestly, I remember watching the NWA, and just having just this really good connection with it. The NWA Power in 2019 really was good. I watched it more often than not. That and WW Dark, and they're just back and forth. I was like really having fun with it, and it just fell apart. And then the pandemic hit, and it just never really got there, And they talked about this is the interview by him, like come out like this. Just saw this on MSN to talk about this. He wants to talk about the NWA. Nick Aldis leaving. Um, Says they currently suspended by the NWA, and your contract with them comes up the end of the year. If I done my research correctly, you're unable to negotiate or make a move until January. When can we expect to see what's next for you? Nick says, I have no intention of doing anything other than seeing out my contract. Like I said in the interview with Sam Roberts, the way that was laid out, it was a minimum of 1 year, but after that 1 year term, it would continue on a month-to-month basis, so I had to give 60 days notice. Right. He's like right here. So I basically did it at the earliest possible time. Was my decision to, well, let's talk about why I decided to make it public. Because I knew that on the surface, a lot of people would say, well, why did he make it public? What's the point in that if he wasn't trying to cause drama and trouble? Well, it was two reasons. One was so that he said Nick Aldis, like, well, he could be able to have open discussions with anybody else. And two, honestly, it was getting in front of what I knew what was coming at the pay-per-view. Yeah, that stuff was going to happen. Oh, and yeah, we'll get to that later. You put this on an Instagram post over the weekend. It got a lot of pictures. Nick, you said, I hope now you see why it's important to let me know, to let you know that I've given my notice to the NWA before this pay-per-view. Hard times where, let me see. There you go. Nope. This, and there it is. Tyrus won the NWA World Championship, fighting against Matt Cardona, who looks like he's going to be WWE bound, and Trevor Murdoch. I just like this. Like, he fits the vibe of the classic studio wrestling. No, Tyrus is like, no. I honestly think the reason why, Billy did this is so he can have like Tyrus come on Gutfeld with the NWA championship. Like, we're having cross promotions. Isn't that fun with people who barely watch, don't even know what the NWA is on, by the way. Don't even know what that is. Yeah, it's weird. It's a very weird thing, but yet Tyrus winning. But yet we'll get back to the interview. Let me just share this tab here. It's right here. So thank exactly. It's like this. A couple things want to break down there. Yeah, exactly. He says right here, talk, turn big opportunities to take the lead on that has become the most toxic brand in pro wrestling. This is what a former champion, a former face of the company, who pretty much they believe that Nick Aldis is pretty much is the face of the company. For the most part, and he said the most toxic brand of pro wrestling. Wow. And he is saying this is what it is. And he says, why? The fan sentiment. It's like the disregard for the fans. I'm not trying to get into political stuff. That's not interesting to me. Politics in this country is very, very split, very divided, and I'm a centrist. So, AKA, I don't want to say anything that pisses anybody off. But, you're going to get pissed off anyway. But that's a nice political answer. Let's see if everything else seems to be looking good. Okay, are we looking good? And let me just stop sharing the screen here just to make sure. Everything's looking good. But yeah, that was a nice non-political answer. Nice non-political answer, my dude. Smart, very smart. And he knows what to do. He knows what to say. He knows what to do at the right situation. You understand what I'm saying? That's the smartest thing to do. Just give a non-answer. Exactly. He said brands should be best to be apolitical. And that's not really me the matter. It's more about the audience have been telling them for one thing for a long time, and Billy specifically has been disregarding them and doing the complete opposite, almost out of spite. I like to think I'm in touch with the NWA audience as anybody, and really more so than anybody. And the amount of communication I have with fans has just been pleading with me, please talk to him. Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? What happened to the show? Why is he doing this? And a lot of it is like, there is people like that. Here it is. At some point, it feels like he's deliberately going. That's what his response is. Nick Aldis is saying that he's going against the fans what they asked for. Being the spite person. And hey, it can work. Being spiteful works. Hell, Vince McMahon basically ran his entire company majority on spite. Everyone has this big old spite. You know what I mean? It is, you know, you know, this spite. All this spite, by the way. It's just all nothing but spite. But you can't really do um you can't really run a company that way for the most part. You have to be, have what you can't go all the way negative all the time, and especially the NWA. WE can do that for long periods of time because they were the only game in town. NWA, you don't have the clout of WWE, much less the lack of competition. You lost your women's champion Thunder Rosa to AEW. Yeah, that's a BS. Yeah, that's a good way to keep your talent happy and such. That sort of thing. Mm. And and you have Tony Khan paying the majority of your talent for like for your NWA Empower stuff, which that's a whole other issue, by the way. But yeah, here it is. Yeah, it's just that. Yeah, it's just one. He feels like he's deliberately going, just against the fans at this point. It's just like around to the honest since I've been here, though, I had to go above and beyond over deliver. That to me was the basis of success in the beginning. Was unpromoting, was under promising and over delivering. We couldn't compete in terms of resources or in terms of star power, in the terms of production value. We had to compete in this being in a show that really connected with the audience. And then it just feels there's like this little move away from that periodic spike. Yeah, yeah. And it's like here saying, so I'm interested with the creative process like in the NWA, Nick. How does it work there? Is it all just Billy handing out a script? It seems like it was different when Dave Lagana was around. Obviously, he got involved with the Me Too movement, and then the process kind of shift. I don't know if that represents you when I say something like that. Absolutely, it's one person now. It's one guy, and it's my way or the highway. So he chose the highway. He bounced, and you know what? That's the smart thing to do. Uh, he's talking to AEW. Um, yeah, he's talking about AEW. He's talking about that stuff here. He wanted to do talk to Tony and Bill. I mean, yeah, and exactly. And he talks about how AEW existence, everything else. It looks like they were doing some really good things. AEW. It talks about this. It talks about guys fitting well. I'm just old school throwback guy, therefore I hate everything modern. And you look at the body of work, but that stuff is guys who complete opposite of me. Whereas Marty Scurll, who's total different size and shape style. Cody Rhodes, yes, there were appearances, but it's total different approach and style. Tim Storm, totally different. Trevor Murdoch, totally different. Ricky Starks, totally great. So there's different things, different ideas and such. He does have unfinished business between Cody Rhodes, so he is in WWE. So this is looking the interview and such, and Triple A, all this stuff. But yeah, but going back to the the NWA, here it is. We get down here, this one here. Uh, one of them exactly. Yeah, here it is. One of the things that were people talked about was the situation done with Roy Mickey James. A lot of people were upset about Billy's comments about women's wrestling, and you, of course, alluded those playing part in your leaving. But what about you and Mickey? Do you have any interest working your wife off screen? It seems that you're going to have a chance to do something a little bit different, find a different presentation, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Do you have any interest working with Mickey on screen? Since since we talked about it, yeah, we did the big next tab with Matt and Chelsea with Impact, and that was fun. And I was always open to it once I established it to a point where I felt like I was my own person. We've been in the industry a long time. It's safe to say she didn't start dating me because I'm size in the industry. I was pretty low on the totem pole in TNA, and I was getting my opportunities and doing all right, and I was getting this push. I was working there. Then talks about the stuff here. We still want exact times TNA would bring it up. We still wanted to do something one time. I think Bruce I mentioned at one point, but I don't remember that. But was certainly brought up more than once. And I had to self exactly and stuff. I can do it now. That's what I'm known as. So yeah, he had to go his own way, empowering women. And then here it is. Um, Bray doesn't see high on maybe doing all women's pay per view, but obviously Mickey was the brains behind it last time. Are you and Mickey interested in possibly running some kind of all women's line or events in general? I don't know where his head's at as a promoter. We're definitely exploring potential opportunities and promoting, producing capacity. Yes, look, let me be clear. We're not starting no promotion, but yeah, this ties into the AEW thing a bit. I really enjoy being in the process with the NWA. I really enjoy working in business development. I spent a lot of time unpaid going after sponsors or going after agreements with different venues like casinos and things of that nature and exploring different broadcast opportunities. And I enjoy really getting into all that. And over my years, particularly in Europe and the UK, I had a good spot on a TV show where I was basically a kid. So I've been involved in that world, world to some extent a long time as well. And I've made a lot of contacts there. I always made a point to my TNA career to take business cards and make contacts with people. I worked very closely with Jeff Jarrett doing Global Force and things like that. So I've always been interested and active in those kind of roles, which was one of the reasons why I dug in with Billy in the NWA, because I wanted to grow and develop this brand into something that could be a valuable asset and a valuable property. I think that I wanted to make it known that my decision to move on is not because I'm assuming that I'll get some gigs somewhere. Whatever happens with that happens. I don't have anything lined up. I want to be a free agent in the aspect, but also I want to be able to explore other ventures. There's a lot goes into it. And it's not just because I want to go to this company or that, opportunities and such. Um, but it's like he's ready to move on. So yeah, they talk about other mission. He's talking about legacy stuff there. Yeah, that stuff here. So they're talking about the women stuff, and yeah, it's this is a very interesting article about this about the NW release and everything else. But then we get to Billy Corgan, and yeah, here it is, his response, and this was yesterday. Billy Corgan on Hard Time Stream Main Event. If you don't want to see stuff like that, then don't watch the NWA, which is not going to be a problem for me because I haven't watched that company in a long while. Oh, I love double folder here. It says, believes the MW should be presented in a certain way. If you don't like it, you will watch someone else. And he was a recent guest on the stories with Briscoe and Bradshaw discussing a variety of subjects. When he asked about the events for the coming next 5 to 10 years, Corgan points to people like like the Funkasaurus as the future of the company. So first off, it is very hard for a general wrestling community to understand is to me, the NWA is a mainstream product, Billy Corgan said, with a straight face and not basically wasted or whatever. He said this completely sober, hopefully. The NWA is a mainstream product. Right there. I'm not misquoting him. You see it right there. He said this. I want to bring back a traditional mainstream wrestling product to television, national television or international television. It's not complicated. In terms of vibe, I like that old shooter vibe. I want you to watch people that can believe can beat your ass. That's it. I want the toughest to win. I want the toughest to feel like they're the stars of our company. It's interesting because I pivoted that over the last 18 months and really built the company around the toughest people, not the biggest, but the toughest. I really see how that's really, and I really see how that's starting to really click. In essence, I finally connected that passion I have for Bruiser Brody when I was a kid to the modern version of the NWA. A lot of people in the wrestling community, and I know this is a high big target. They like what they're going to call the 8-star Meltzer matches and all that stuff too. I like that stuff too, but if we're talking about business, just straight business, not fan stuff. I believe the Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. And in this upcoming main event, McIntyre, who recast himself on the entrance scene of the Star Years, versus Tyrus, who is 6'8", 370 pounds, versus Tyron Mark, who's 6'3" and 350 pounds. I want to see that match. Well, you and 5 people. Look at this amazing. Look at this paragraph right here. And all the love and such for these wrestlers, but they're not Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley. They're not even close to that stuff. Lesnar and Lashley are like different stratospheres of talent, endurance, and build to Tyrus, Trevor Murdoch, and Matt Cardona. And I'm sorry. Just that statement. What? This statement, ladies and gentlemen, is so yeah. Oh gosh, this statement. Oh, let me just get rid of this thing. Just turn off. There you go. But yeah. And I'd like to say, if you don't want to see that stuff, then don't watch the NWA. Yes, that's when people are not barely watching it now, just push the rest of the fan base off. That's gonna be great because that's what I'm gonna be more and more of it. More Tyrus and Trevor Murdoch. Gay. Everyone wants more SmackDown versus Raw 08 roster. Get in. This is your stuff. This is your shit right here. Get in. Get in there, baby. Woo. That SmackDown 08, 07 roster from that's fill this in, baby. Oh yeah, you feel good about it. Oh yes. Yeah. and as we climb, and I'm able to take kind of develop young talent in the world, mold the NWA, it will be the toughest, hard-hitting wrestling in the world. I know that there's the strong style in Japan, but to me, that's a different psychological. It's hard to explain. I don't mean disrespect. It's just different psychology. Oh wow, okay. Don't cover what's in the women. It's like saying he believes he's trying to come that way. Professional wrestling should be and presented in 2022. This is his quotes, by the way. Put this right up here. Y'all can see these quotes. All right. There it is. Let me just put this here. I will make the argument that we probably have the toughest women in business right now, and I love it. I love women who are strong, beautiful, and vicious. That's a beautiful combination. And with the men, I want them to be the meanest, toughest elephants in the middle of the ring. If you can't hang, then go impress somebody somewhere else. My NWA will be, if you want to call it, old school. You want to call it AWA? You want to call Florida with Eddie Graham, or you want to call it what do you have? I put it this way. I said this to Mr. Briscoe. I want you, bros, usually having, and I want you, and you guys look at what we're doing to be proud because I believe that this is the business. And I'm not saying there's other variations of the business. If you ask me, rock and roll, who are the greatest bands of all time, I tell you Led Zeppelin and the Beatles because they were great at every level and every facet of the game. And when I look at the old school, why is it that way? Because it was going to draw the most money and bring the most people, and it did repeatedly. And now we've broken all these micro genres and subculture like that. I still believe the business and capital letters and what I'm striving. So again, it's not sentimental, but I would hope that what you see with what we're doing as progress, you keep say that in business. That's the way to draw, and that's the way to keep people coming back. Just oh, oh, Lord, this. This man truly believes this. And I gotta go look at this once again. Look at this. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley like this. They comparing them to Tyrus and this is the future? Meanwhile, they barely even existing. The NWA is barely existing. Um, I'm just, you know, I just, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm like, no, this is terrible. By the way, this man is like 50. Hold on. Let me just look at this. I know this is Wikipedia or whatever, but good Lord. He's 50 years old. 50 years old. 50. Look at it. He's 50 years old. Tyrus is like 50 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He's 50. 50. Like, I, and this is the future of the NWA. This is and by the way, shocker, he goes on the Fox News and such, and all these other things, and sexual harassment too. You put a guy who just he's just beyond old or whatever. He's done. Tyrus just Tyrus, man, 50 years old, going on the Fox News like late go show Gutfeld, and it has sexual harassments and such. Jeez, the state of your company, the state of your goddamn company, and you know what? Nick Aldis was right. Just the state of your company, man. The state of your company. 50-plus-year-old sex allegedly sex pest, tyrist, going around here allegedly. 50 years old. 50 years old. NWA champion with all the bad knees and everything else. Had an undefeated streak in the NWA and just have him win. I I mean, what else there is to say, ladies and gentlemen? What do you want me to say? There is nothing for me to say here. Other than this company, the NWA is not just in the mud, they're beneath the mud. They are in the Earth's crust of it. GCW, for all its faults, is more aware than you. I would say not just that, but Impact laps you, GCW laps you. I mean, there's other things that have lapped you, by the way. Let's see. One of my favorite DC fight you know, one pro is much more gosh, I mean they have more of a clout than you. And that's just amazing to me. Amazing to me. Um just yeah, I don't care. I really don't seriously. I'm like, yeah. Fight Club Pro Wrestling is more interesting and more over than anything the NWA has done in the past year. By the way, Trish Adora is, she's a better champion than Tyrus. But I have a better match than anything else. By the way, AEW, sign her, please. Sign her, please. So you can have, actual people who, actual good women's wrestlers and such. She's great. So yeah, Trish Adora, baby. Trish Adora. Yeah, that's just me, man. That is just my personal opinion. I don't know. All right. That's just my personal thing. I could be wrong. Anyway, we're gonna take a little bit of a break here. Music break. We're gonna come back and talk about WWE offering Stone Cold another WrestleMania match. Think about people being in the past. We'll be right back right after this here live on Dukect Lounge, on not just our talk show, but also our YouTube. Thanks for joining me, Dukect. We'll be right back right after this.